It's starting soon. I don't know why that started there.
Greetings. Welcome.
Ooh, dude, did David just pop out of nowhere, dude? Like David just showed up like magical.
Infamous, illustrious David Castillo.
And nobody know David was late until he just told on you, David. Yeah, nobody was the wiser.
Actually,
They know
Doc,
because of you, because we ain't say he was
told
late. We just said he
us to
appeared.
be
He
here
was magic.
and just not on camera. How about that for producing? Take that. Yeah,
What's up, my guys? Happy Tuesday. Happy December. That happened quickly.
Yeah, right?
And here we are for another episode of the South Star Classroom. What's really good. And time for my favorite part of the show, check-ins. How's it going? Omar, I'm gonna throw it to you. What's going on?
Man, I got three quick things to say. One, we should be doing check-ins with Bill. Every show we should be asking Bill immediately.
How you doing, Bill?
Stone Cold check-ins.
We didn't see Bill last week, did we?
I miss Bill. My favorite is when Bill starts hitting up with comments before the show even starts. So, Bill, this is for you. Love you. I want to hear from you. You should be part of this show, just like Mama Toya is, giving us your check-in. Two, I think I had the greatest vacation of my entire life. The most relaxing, I would say, this past Thanksgiving. My brother-in-law and my sister bought a condo up in Telluride. And this was the first week, I think, in like maybe 15 years where I didn't work over a vacation, where I wasn't like nuts or stressed out about something, like where I wasn't actually having to do critical amounts of work. So, man, is this what vacation feels like? Because I feel good. The mother. And that is how I am doing. That's my second thing. My third thing is, how are you all, my radiant, beautiful co-hosts? Jubilee, you look beautiful. You got the poinsettia in the background. I love Christmas.
You know, Mom was in town, so we went shopping together. You gotta do what she says. So
where's Mom's at? Hold on, where is she? Where's my boo? Where's my boo?
I gotta tell her you were looking for her. I'm gonna have to call her.
She's gonna be on here. She about to get on here. She comes and watches us. I know you think she comes to watch you. We done had this talk.
Let me tell you something. She loves each of you. She has things she loves about all of you. It's fine. She loves Omar's hair. She loves David's calm. She loves Charles's spiciness. Okay.
Spiciness. What the hell? What the hell?
Kind of spicy.
Man, what do you mean? What the hell, man? You are spicy as fuck, and I love it. It gets the people going.
And that nobody's coming to save us. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
But yeah, my mom loves when you go like that, Omar. Like when you fix your hair, she thinks your hair is amazing, and and she loves you because you also.
Omar is a supermodel out of us. We the most interesting man in the world.
Indeed. But side note, I just want you to know when Omar came to DC on a hot summer day and we connected in DC, I want you to know this man, after I got a fresh silk press, looked kind of similar to his hair, but just a little bit more black hair. Asked me if I wanted to walk or take an Uber. What do you think I chose?
Uber.
Of course. Thank you, David.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because I had to teach Omar. I was like, do you see this? This is, well, not this, but this is a silk press. I can't walk with this. I'm going to have an afro in 2 seconds. So we learned about black hair that day. Anyway, I'm throwing
it. And I feel good about that and sad because I saw Chris Rock's show Black Hair and I should know better. But it's always good to have that reaffirmation.
Man, you all right, man.
No, you are. It was a big deal.
No, that's just my way of being like, man, that was a good ass movie.
I mean, it was. And my hair was laid. I might do that again. Okay. Beautiful. David, what's going on?
I empathize with your situation, Omar, because I remember that too. Like I was even when I was a teacher, I don't felt like I ever got like good vacations, but I spent like what, like 15 years as a principal, different schools. And it was just, I never got to that point where I could actually enjoy a vacation during that time. I just never got there. It was like Murphy's Law. The minute you get on the road or at the airport, your phone starts blowing up, and you're like,
yes, dude, that one right there is what always kicks the shit out of me. I'm like, I tell everybody, okay, I'm out of here. Let's get everything resolved. Let's get everything worked out. Let's get everything signed. I'm working triple to take some time off. And then the minute I'm gone, the minute I'm somewhere, the minute I get to the airport, oh, fucking, we got this emergency. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I can't wipe my own ass. And I'm like,
exactly, dude. You're like, it's terrible. It was terrible. So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to enjoy your vacation. It's great. Everything's going well, and we got out and did some golfing over the holiday week. We are the original MAGA. Trump stole MAGA from us, the Mexican American Golf Association. So just another, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just another example of Trump being a dirtbag and a thief. Yeah.
Because he was thinking about y'all specifically when he took that, huh?
He was like,
I met that David Castillo, and screw him. We taking the name.
We need that. We need it.
I'm very tired. I'm good. I'm good, but I'm very tired. But that's good. The Bears are number one in the NFC right now. This is just number one Bears. Just for the record, my Raiders.
Gonna wear that today,
but it doesn't match what I have on. So, but the Bears are number one, and then for agentic stuff, the shows are doing well. Stuff is going viral, but people said let us know when the new merch is out. So I have the new merch is up. I have on the agentic shirt. Yes, I know the new press is come. So that's
nice.
This one, the the agentic ones with the that's there. I think that one has sold out though. This is there, fully stocked. Pink. I know the ladies always make me do crop tops too. I have to do those. I do those after whatever sells out, then I'll come back and do them. So yeah, I'm good. And then we do have the OGs back in stock. These sell out after the week after I put them up. So there we go. We good. That's my check-in. I need to be a better businessman. I need to sell my shit and sell my shows. So because I'm never gonna get, we're never gonna get the endorsements for this show because of Omar. So I have to sell shit in other places.
Man, this man right here, man, I get conflicting production notes left and right. It's like, man, be yourself, be you. And then like I'm me, and he's like, be less of you, be this version of you.
Listen to no. Listen, kids. Listen, boys and girls out there watching. No. You want your friends and your co-hosts to be themselves. Be you. But you just need to have a backup plan if you need to make money. So like, yeah, there we go. I just have a backup plan.
This man right here. I want to make some money. Like, I got to stop cursing on there. I have to stop talking trash about the Republican Party and
you
Trump.
Said, listen, I'm in talks with Monster, and you said something to the effect of, well, fuck Monster.
I did not say that. I did not say that. There's like these shows are taped. There is no thing. Anything to do saying that, man.
He was just like, I said, hey, man, I got the rep. I said the Monster rep, and then all these academic people are gonna be watching. But be yourself. He was like, yeah, fuck that shit. I got you.
You gotta find that clip. We don't know, Tom. I don't know if Omar would ever say anything like that.
Well, I don't have my Monster deal right now, so I know it got said, but it's okay. But I do love Omar. Omar is one of my favorite people. Just for the record, though, because this is what friends do. We did. I don't know. I got to finish talking with Monster, and he did get me banned from TikTok Live. I am banned from TikTok Live because of Omar Yanard.
Really?
In the middle of the broadcast. They flagged me in the broadcast. Omar was like, "Oh shit, my bad. I said Omar." He just
Did you guys go?
because I had it. But let's get to the show. I love Omar. Don't change nothing because it gives me great fodder. I love it and I love you. This is just the realities of business. So help me out because I'm poor. And so Omar can curse. Go to charlescode3rd.com and buy the stuff so I can keep funding the show. There we go.
We got you. Okay. I love the pink. Shout out to Toya. Thanks for joining us, Mama
Yes.
Toya. All right. So today's episode, we are at 214. Who would have thunk it? No, and I'm saying this like this on purpose because I need to have the emphasis, but it's no hablas español. Okay, that's today's title. When speaking your home language gets you in trouble. Imagine that you go to school, right? You hablas español or you parle de français or whatever, or parle français, whatever your language is. And you're chatting with a friend of yours in class, and your teacher addresses you on the way out of class and tells you you can't speak your home language no more because the other people in the class, they can't understand what's saying or whatever reason the teacher gives that is against you speaking your home language. Well, that happened at this school in Kentucky, I believe this is. So I want us to take a quick look at this clip, and then we'll come back.
Oh, that gives way more context. Okay, you ready for me to play it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not looking. I had to be on the other screen.
Talk to you
Gotcha.
about speaking Spanish in my classroom. And now
It's low.
I'm the one
Yeah.
being judged because I'm asking you to meet my expectations.
We didn't,
and you're
okay, but
not.
we didn't know that was a policy. You could have like reminded
I
us.
have been talking to you about it since the beginning of school. Every time you talk in Spanish.
You just
But
say,
why?
you just tell us to stop talking.
Yes,
You
but
don't like.
why? Why do you think I do that?
We don't know.
Okay,
we were like,
two
what?
reasons. One, it's unfair to other people. You're speaking a language that half the people in the classroom can't speak. So it makes it seem like you guys are talking about them. Two, today I had a girl breaking down right in front of you guys. And you guys were giggling. And then you started speaking Spanish.
Who was breaking down? Because we don't focus on anyone but ourselves. If I'm talking Spanish, I'm talking Spanish to her because I know obviously no one else can understand me.
Yeah.
Okay, but why? Why do that? What is the point of that?
We always do it in
Of
ceramics
what?
and like
Yeah.
like,
Okay, but
it's
I'm
just
not the
in,
teacher of
like,
ceramics. But I'm not the teacher of ceramics.
I know, but like
But
I'm
no,
not
we're
ever saying
just-
anything bad in Spanish. Like,
Yeah.
we literally just speak Spanish like in
But
general.
that is my request. It has been my request.
Mhm.
So it's disrespectful when you don't do what I'm asking you to do.
Okay, well just like next time, because like we
No,
just
no, no.
didn't
There's
know.
not going to be a next time.
So just because we speak Spanish, you're gonna automatically think we're talking about someone in the
No,
class.
and I understand some Spanish. So sometimes
Okay.
I do know what you guys are talking about.
We're never talking
Not
about
all
someone.
the time, and I can't pick it up nearly as quickly. But I do know some Spanish.
It's not like we're saying anything bad. So it's,
That's not the point. The point is that I've asked you not to.
yeah, but we didn't know the reason. So we were taking
But you
it in
didn't
it. We
ask
were
me. Kimberly, you didn't ask me. You
because I
didn't
feel like
ask
that's
me.
something you should also tell us. You're the teacher. You're the adult. Why do we have to?
That's right. I am the adult. And
Exactly.
you are to do exactly what I tell you when it's in my class.
And
If
we-
I tell you not to speak Spanish, there's a reason. I don't have to give you a reason. You're supposed to do it. Now, moving forward, there will be absolutely no Spanish in my classroom.
Well, there
Wow.
we have it. There we have it. So let's go to initial thoughts. The chat is already on fire.
I didn't even watch that clip ahead of time, so I'm triggered right now.
Mm. Mhm.
I mean, my initial thoughts are, I think this teacher, not because she's a woman, but is just like taking it to a level where it doesn't need to go to. It's like she's like personalizing it, getting emotional. I've been in that space too as an educator, and then I've reflected and be like, oh man, that was all about me, I think does the district have a policy around language? I think most school districts, I know any school I was part of, we had policy that said, like, if you were talking about something pertaining to a lesson or an educational activity, you speak in English, unless it's like an ESL class. Outside of that, at lunch, free time, whatever, students can talk in whatever language they want, right? And so I think the other piece that I heard was like, you just assume that since people are speaking a language that you don't understand and they might be laughing that they're talking about you, they're making fun of you. I think that's a whole other. I think the teacher has issues to deal with. You know, she thinks that people are constantly like making fun of her. You know, they're probably not. Maybe they are. Maybe they should be. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Omar, initial thoughts?
Man, I'm with David, and I'm with Nikki here. I'm like, girl, like, slow your roll. Calm down. Because it's taken from such a personal extent of,
yeah,
this is my classroom, this is about me, I'm in charge. And I'm like, really? Okay. Like, one, I smell the insecurity from like a mile away, and it stinks. And I don't like it. B, what you're doing with unknowingly is not communicating in an effective way about how to create a participatory or inclusive environment. What you're doing is chastising students for speaking a native language. So, you know, it's like, you know, if two kids got like a secret language that is something besides Spanish, are you going to handle that the same way? But you're doing it in a way of chastising as opposed to cooperative, inclusive, you know, getting into an environment of like, yeah, like, hey, this is cool, I get it. However, here, did you think about maybe how some of your classmates may react to this or what their interpretation may be? She's supposed to teach. And in teaching, one is hoping that you're imparting a learning lesson. And what she's doing is some like bully pulpit lecturing. And for that, I think it's just like that in and of itself is just a terrible approach. But if I got to think to myself, like, David, if you and I were that kid, si empezamos hablando español in the middle of class, and then all of a sudden some teacher comes up and it's just like, what are you two talking about? You two in your Spanish, I already told you. You know, puedo hablarlo español. Oh, I can understand some of the words you're saying. Like, yeah, all right, Sam Snead. All right, lady.
Yeah, it becomes the cat and mouse game.
Yeah, and like what happens is that I'm putting myself in the position of a child. I'm not 5-year-old Omar Yanar. I'm like 15-year-old Omar, and I'm like, if I talk back to this teacher, my mom's going to beat the crap out of me. My dad's going to beat the crap out of me. I'm going to get in trouble at school. So I'm put in between a very difficult rock and hard place of having to figure out how to stand up for myself, but then not deal with the ramifications at home.
It's, man, this, I mean, and I think one of the reasons why I'm triggered is because my parents like would get like, they would get like beat by their teachers for speaking Spanish in class. Right.
My mom
they would literally get hit with a stick. Right.
Correct.
In Texas, right. In deep South Texas, which not too long ago was part of Mexico. Right. No longer, but it feels like there's this conversation about language is tied to this current. It's like people they don't remember the history of this country. Like, we are such a young country, and all of a sudden, for some reason, and you see it all around, right? With the immigrants coming over, right? The immigrants, why aren't they assimilating? You know, assimilation is not what makes the United States of America a great country. It's our diversity, and that includes our diversity of culture, our diversity of religion, our diversity of values, our diversity of language and communication, right? And so it feels like this is like easy pecking grounds for teachers to say like, hey, you're in the US now, speak English, which I agree. We have to have a common language that people can understand. when you are conducting the business of education. But when kids are just being kids, let them talk in whatever language they want to speak in, right?
Mhm.
There's no harm in that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Charles, initial thoughts? before we
Am
go
I
to-
responding to the video or to like the larger
Video.
topic? The video, there's a lot of context missing. I think it's easy for me. I agree with y'all. Like, I think just from what we saw, obviously the young girl was taping for a reason. I don't have the context before or the nuance of it. It sounds like this has been a conversation or an ongoing thing, and it sounds like they're kind of messing with each other. I think the teacher may not have handled it well, but again, I don't know what the first conversation sounded like. And I've been in situations like the question that you had was like, is it ever appropriate to tell somebody not to speak a certain language? Well, I was in AP Spanish, then you can't speak English in AP Spanish. You got to speak English or French, right? Or I think there's nuance, right? If I had a different reaction, like if David and Omar are in my class, but David doesn't speak great English, it makes sense that Omar is talking to David in Spanish or whatever. But if they both speak in English like we are, but every time we hear y'all speaking Spanish and people are laughing and giggling, it's funny. Like, then I might be like, well, what's happening, right? Like, it would be weird if we're just having conversation with the four of us now, and then y'all just did a segment in Spanish, right? Like, it'd be like, and laughing. So I think Jubilee and I were just talking about it before we came on, and I was telling her, I said, she said, have you ever seen a black person get into it with the people at the nail shop? I said, I've seen the black and Asian woman at the nail shop online, and I used to go get to the beauty supply with my mom when she would go in, and I've seen that happen in different races where it felt like the people behind that ran the store was laughing at people out there. So again, on the video, I don't have much to argue with. I think the video is kind of low-hanging fruit because where the world is, where this immigration stuff is, I agree with you all. The lady didn't handle it well. She wasn't on it. But when you ask the larger question, is it ever appropriate for an educator to say that? I think that's a more nuanced question. I think there are moments where it's just racist and wrong. I think there might be a reason for other moments. Like if you're somebody that's like, I have immigrant friends where their parents don't let them speak their home language outside of their home. Like it's like a thing. It's like a thing. And I think one time in high school, I had a friend who was Dominican, but he looked like me, and we was chilling. And some cats started speaking Spanish, but they was talking shit about him. And he was like, and he responded in Spanish, and it got real awkward. So I've seen it happen. And you live in New York, Jube. So, you know, there's more black Spanish people. So I agree with everybody on the video reaction. To make the show interesting, I can go nuanced on the larger conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, you can post the first question. You kind of segued there, so that's cool. Yeah, when, if ever, is it appropriate for educators to restrict a student from using their home language? How does this affect their sense of belonging and identity in school? And so for me, my response to the video was like, it pissed me off, and it doesn't matter if cheating was a thing, like if they was over there going cuatro, right? Cuatro, if cheating. Right. But for me, whatever the reason is for a disciplinary conversation has to have been a violation in any language and in any forum. Right. If that's not true, then you're wrong for addressing them. Right. And it also has to be true for every student that speaks another home language, not just for those that speak Spanish. So if you was doing that for two students that use American Sign Language, which is a language that people don't understand, Polish or French, Korean, Japanese, Congolese, and that would be, then maybe we can talk about that. But I have a feeling that this is not that, you know, and so that's what pisses me off. Like if you can't reinforce it across the board, then it's not fair. It's them being targeted. And
but we don't know what the context was. We don't know
I know that this lady kept repeating.
We don't know if nobody else in the room can speak any different things.
Who cares?
We don't know. But that's the context that you just gave. You said you made an assumption about what happened. I'm saying I don't have enough information to extrapolate into something larger or claim to know this woman's heart and if she's racist, or claim to know if these kids were just being innocent and getting picked on. Right? I don't know.
I don't care. We're
not gonna have a logical conversation about it. It's just like
it's not. It's this teacher to me. If this teacher was in my building, I would have wrote this teacher up. I would have had a conversation, but I don't think by any means you should be redirecting kids outside of, again, violating something that's in a disciplinary code book, which we would all say, okay.
All I'm saying is you might be right. I'm just saying we don't have enough information to infer.
I feel like I do. I think
stuff.
I have enough information for a teacher who keeps on repeating, I've told you not to speak Spanish in the classroom. That's not the issue. If your concern is that they are being negative in class, if they're being disruptive, that's general. You don't want kids to be disruptive in class. You don't want kids having negative conversations or rumors or gossip or whatever, because that's not positive and that's not helpful in cultivating a healthy environment in a fucking classroom. Right?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with them speaking Spanish.
Omar's happy somebody else is cursing. Continue.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with the fact that they're speaking in Spanish. Right? Those are actions that we don't
know what they said. We don't know what they heard. Like, this is all I'm saying.
Listen,
I know David's trying to get in there, so I'll land my plane right there.
It's okay. I'll continue to allow Charles to defend white supremacy. Go ahead.
This is where I think the problem comes in. I think that we think everything is super racist. We think everything is out of bounds. That when let me finish. When real shit shows up, we when you respond like the sky is falling for everything, then nothing matters. If everything is a 10, nothing's a 10. What I'm saying is, I don't know the context. I said Jubilee could very well be absolutely correct, and all that could be true. And this is a horrible teacher, a horrible person, a horrible racist. But what I'm saying is, there were a lot of assumptions made and a lot of big decisions and declarations that just got made, and we don't know the context. What if they were talking and that teacher heard Bendejo and were like looking at her and laughing, right?
But that's not the point. The point is that
it would be Bendeja.
Bendeja. They were talking about a guy if they was doing that. I got you, right?
David.
What I am saying is, it's not about the language. It's about the action. If it stands true that if I say that somebody's a mother pucker in English, Spanish, French, whatever, that's just rude across the board. You shouldn't be using any sort of offensive language, no matter what language, in the classroom. So it's about the action. It's not about the language. The lady in that video made it about the language. I told you to stop speaking Spanish. She made it about her. I'm the adult. You do what I say. She made it about the language, and she herself made assumptions because she didn't ask any questions about what they were saying. She assumed that whatever they were saying was negative, and she made it about the fact that she couldn't understand what they were saying.
Listen, I just disagree. I feel you. I just don't have enough information to fully agree.
That is
my information. Another angle here, another like more technical angle here is, like, this teacher doesn't get to make up rules for her classroom like that.
Right.
So I don't know what school district this is or where this teacher is teaching at. If it's a private school, they could probably do whatever they want. But there are protections around speech. Students do lose a certain amount of like speech privileges. You don't have students don't have like full First Amendment rights when they walk onto a school campus. They lose a bunch of them, actually. But they do retain a certain amount of their First Amendment rights. And so if you are conducting the business of education, again, going back to like a lesson, right? Like, it would not be appropriate for the four of us to be like in a group, in a project, and me and Charles start speaking like French, whatever. Because then we can't interact with our peers, right? So I agree with that. I think the question is, like, this teacher sounds like she's making, and it's a larger issue. She said in my classroom, right? Well, what about like cell phones are not allowed in the school, but in my classroom, you can use cell phones, right? So I think this teacher she's definitely on some kind of power trip, that's clear. Having nothing to do with the language piece. And I think there's a bigger, I agree. I think we're missing some context, but the way that the teacher is approaching the situation with the students, listen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously they had this conversation before.
Yeah, I got out. I like left like site leadership right around the time when like every student had a phone, But for the last couple of years, and you know, in my time as being a principal, like I knew any interaction could be filmed, right? Any interaction, parent,
Right.
student, whatever. And so you keep that in mind, you know. And this teacher obviously
no
was
more.
got emotional, just like, you know, kind of said a bunch of stuff that she probably regrets saying now, and now we're talking about it. You know, and so I think, but there are different ways of handling the situation, and she just got
Absolutely.
it could have been anything. This teacher just got, she was out of pocket. She was she felt disrespect. This is another thing that bothers me with teachers. Like you disrespected me. Like it's never about like you don't just tell somebody to like respect someone. You have to earn respect. Students have to earn the respect of their teachers. Teachers have to earn the respect of their students, right? But when people assume that students have to respect their teachers, and it's an assumption, it's never going to happen. It's built on some weird, like privileged hierarchy concept that, you know, basically is like super outdated, right? And so somebody didn't tell this teacher, you know, she didn't get the Cliff Notes, and now here we are talking about this. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I always, as an educator,
No, let me.
you know,
would
I always
say-
erred on the side of caution
Yeah.
when I
The
would
teacher clearly
try
lost
and
their
limit
cool.
any
Clearly
kind
lost
of like student speech or movement or thought, you know, because that's not my place. It's just not my place.
You think about it differently. And my question for David, for Doc, because I think Jubilee and I feel very similar about this, is regardless if the kids were speaking Spanish, sign language, or what the context is, would you have approached a student in that way and spoken to a student that way?
Well, I would hope not, right? I say no, but what I'm saying from the context clues of the conversation, this is obviously not the first time this happened. There's obviously a phone that's teed up in her lap at capturing this. Like, I agree with Alonzo. Alonzo says, since I arrived late, I went back to the video, and I can honestly say this is not the first time this happened. She obviously recorded herself to show her friends later and have a good laugh. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's an antagonism that's happening that students do, and you got to kind of deal with. I think that this teacher lost their cool, but I've had teachers lose their cool before. Like, it seems like it was told a few different times, and that's why they're having a back and forth. Now, should she have stood there and argued with a child over and over? Probably not, but she probably got frustrated. Again, and there might be some larger thing. I just didn't want to extrapolate that. And what I was saying was, well, all I'm saying was that, like, I just didn't have enough information. That's why I said on the topic as a whole, I can have a different conversation. With this one, I'm like, I can tell when somebody's fucking with you as like an adult. But to answer the question, I've been in at least 5 or 6 classes where there was a banned list of words that we could not say or converse. It wasn't curse words. If you go look up banned words in classrooms, you will see a never-ending list of shit. So here's one I just pulled, right? Bruh, bro, on God, say less, Gucci, Riz, bustin', yacht, Sigma, low-key, high-key, finna. Like, teachers do this all the time. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not
as a home language, though, that like
it
born and raised speaking versus trying to
let a white person tell black people that they can't utilize localized slang in their classroom. It's the same thing. I've had white people make that list. I've had black people make that list. I've seen Asian teachers make that type of list.
It's a list. It's not a language.
The point that I'm saying is people. Listen again. I don't know this woman. I don't care about this woman. I don't care about nobody in this scenario, to be honest with you. I don't know these people. What I'm saying, though, is like you could 1000% be fully correct in those assumptions. But I can't sit here with my full chest out and cast aspersions when I don't know what happened before, what's been happening all year, the conversations. Yeah. We have all had teachers, and y'all have been teachers. You ain't never lost your cool on a student in his classroom. You ain't never had to go back and reflect and be like, you know what? I kind of blew up on that. Like David said, I had some moments where I was trying to, I don't want to speak for you, David. That's all I'm saying.
I've had many moments.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I don't want to be like, this is the most racist motherfucker ever, like off of that moment when I know I can clearly see that they are fucking with this lady. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you. God.
Yeah, but you have to also listen. I mean, I think it never got to the point where it was about like, I felt like somebody disrespected me, because I never I never expected my students to respect me. That was never one of my expectations, right? I never walked into a classroom.
Expected you to respect the teacher, though, right?
Say what?
I said, but your parents, like, if you would have got in trouble.
They tried when I was younger. Yeah,
exactly.
but they gave up.
I know if I get caught disrespecting as a kid, I'm in deep shit.
I was a terrorist in school.
Woo! Yeah. I couldn't disrespect adults as a kid. I could not do it. I would get in trouble.
Oh, I did it all the time. But I do think there's a difference here. So let me see if I can help let me get my thinking out on this. I'll be very concise. I do think there's a difference in I think banning words like bruh, this, that, low key, whatever, all those, like, these are like current words, right? This is like the new slang. This is like the new vernacular that kids are using. It's going to change in 10 years. It's going to change in 5 years.
No.
However, like, these are young people that are speaking Spanish that probably goes back 5 generations in their family. It's a lot deeper ingrained into their DNA, right? Their grandparents, their great-grandparents, their parents spoke Spanish. They speak Spanish. So there's a difference between somebody telling you to not use, I feel like, there's a difference between somebody telling you to not speak the language that you've identified with and that your family identifies with going back generations versus, like, a list of like 2025 street terms, which is not specific to African Americans, because basically all kids use African American slang now, right? It's like white kids in the Corn Belt. It's like it's
Yeah. I agree. I think for me,
that was the first Corn Belt reference in this show, I think, ever.
Yeah, we don't often get Corn Belt references.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm really glad you incorporated that. I feel like we just ticked something off of the South Star bingo.
Well, there we go. We're going to go to our second question, but I definitely agree with you, David. I do think there's a difference there, but for the same reason. So I won't, reiterate. And I really think it's important to teach students about appropriateness, right? Time and place. I think still, and this video was evidence of it, right? And I'm sure that in my early days, I needed to learn this as well, right? You teach students about time and place. And instead of trying to eradicate things that are really close to them, that mean something to them, right? For example, like what Charles just said about that list, right? When we're coming into this classroom, everybody has to put those things down, right? Because we use academic language in here. That's what we use, right? Or whatever. But it's a way of norming and bringing it together. For those 2 young ladies, I feel like my conversation would have been, listen, I think that's dope. You're bilingual. I think it's amazing. Like, keep using it, right? Don't let nobody ever try to take that away. But what I want you to be mindful of is the fact that everyone in this classroom is not, right? And I'm not going to make any assumptions about what you were saying. It sounded like y'all was getting it on. Y'all was having a little giggle. I don't know if y'all was talking about me or you think my nose is funny, whatever. Try to be light with it. But it's like, but be mindful of your surrounding, right? I don't want you to shrink. I don't want you to think that there's something wrong with you speaking another language that everyone cannot understand, because that's not fair to you as a bilingual human being, right? Howsoever, just be mindful of your environment, right? Mm-hmm. That's more of the conversation that I would be hoping for. To me, she isolated these 2 young ladies and she reprimanded them. And instead of trying to build what it looks like is instead of trying to build a community that's inclusive and welcoming, you push that out and you targeted them because of their use of language. The behavior even could have been dealt with differently. If she felt like they were being negative or whatever, she could have dealt with that. But instead, she made it about their language. And that is what I have the biggest issue with. Charles?
Jude, I was
going to ask you, I just want to ask Jude real quick. I just want to ask Jude, I think that was beautiful. We don't know if she said that the first time. This obviously wasn't the first time. What if you said that and then now it's the 4th time? How are you saying that the 4th time? You don't know what she again. You don't know what she said.
Go back and watch that clip. That's
what I'm saying.
I have told you to
then then we'll just have a conversation about how we feel about stuff. Then I'm just saying there's no evidence that says she did or didn't. I'm asking you, if you're the educator and you've tried to establish that respect, you said it one time, you said it twice. Let's say this your third time. Are you still saying it the exact same way with the exact same tone?
I think it depends. If it's not disruptive,
But no, you're
right?
making the assumption.
why
that
am
this
I
is-
so bothered? First of all, what she didn't say in that video is that it was disruptive. She said it was unfair to the other students.
I think she said a lot. I'm just saying, like Omar just said.
I'm answering your question.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
You said she didn't say anything about disruptive. She didn't say anything about profanity, even in the words that she did pick up.
I'm asking, did she indicate that she said it already before?
I choose my battles, right? If it is something that is harming the classroom community and is impeding the learning progress, then yes, I have a problem. I'm going to get your parents involved. We're going to have another kind of conversation. It's going to escalate because it's disruptive and it's not up to the classroom community. But if I center the issue around myself, that they need to do what I'm saying and stop speaking because it's unfair to
I hear you. My question was more about if a first time versus the third time, and I was just asking you.
I'm going to.
We just don't agree. It's okay. It's fine. It's good.
I don't, but I'm not going to diminish somebody's home language because it pisses me off or it annoys me. No, especially if it's not harming the community.
Again, just for the record, people listen, I'm not saying you should diminish anybody's home language. I'm not saying any of that. What we're looking at is a situation that is told from one vantage point with a snippet, and we making some really, really big aspersions. Is what that's all I'm
saying. What was in the video? That's what I'm going off of.
Okay.
Tell. Omar.
I got all sorts of things to say, but I'll get us onto the second question, right? We do this all the time. So David has probably done this about 1,000 times. I do this today. How do we actually support English language learning while simultaneously like honoring and integrating students' home languages as a strength? I mean, I got to tell you, for me, it was just really easy. I don't think that this is a complicated endeavor at all. So my conversation with students and our teachers' conversation with students and our principal's conversation with students is pretty much the same, which is you are in a place where we honor our traditions, our Mexican, indigenous, Spanish background, and the language. It is something that we not only want you to keep, but get proficient at. But what I tell kids, and this is sometimes a very difficult thing for them to hear, is, are you going to live in Mexico your whole life? Si vas a trabajar y vivir en México, dígame ahorita. Like, if you're going to live there and work there, tell me now. And none of them, not one, are saying that's what I want to do. They're like, no. Queremos quedarnos aquí. Queremos entrar a los Estados Unidos. I was like, listen, then you have to be two people. You need English as much as you need Spanish, but you're going to be two people and you're going to be doubly unstoppable. But right now, your English is here and your Spanish is here. We've got to get them caught up. So that means that we need you to answer in English, speak in English. We understand that it's going to be difficult. We understand that it's going to be something that you may not want to do in front of class. So then it gets into the mechanics of classroom instruction. So we do a lot of small group work and then a lot of like think, pair, share, so that kids can speak to one another in a comfortable place without getting called out in front of the class to practice their English in a safe place. And then what they do is they practice it and with two people. Then they practice it with four. Then of the four, we ask, okay, one of you, it's not going to be the same person every time, who feels the most confident to repeat this in front of the class. So they've already had 2 times to try it in English before they speak it in English in front of the group. So what you're doing is creating a safe environment. You're creating a definitive why that they need to learn English and practice English. And I always tell kids, like, your Spanish is going to always improve. This is what you're speaking at home. We're speaking at here. I encourage you to read in Spanish when you can. This is going to make you unstoppable. Otherwise, and this is verbatim, and you may not like this language. I may get banned from Monster for saying this, but I literally say, do you want to be a slave the rest of your life because you don't understand the language. People will take advantage of you. They will take advantage of you and destroy you legally. That car loan, that mortgage loan, predatory lending, all those things that you cannot read in English. They will take advantage that you don't know English, get you to sign things, make you a subservient human being, a slave, someone who is going to constantly have to serve others. Is that what you want? They're like, no quiero eso. Like, I don't want that. And I was like, this is how we couple the two. And it matters because it's coming from someone whose Spanish was their first language, who speaks now good Spanish, good English, I guess good enough on both. Charles would disagree with my English use.
I would not.
I love my English use. Listen to me, monster. I love you. I'll drink your drink on this show. If you give me a Monster Energy drink.
I had to go back to Red Bull.
Oh, there it goes. We just lost the Monster sponsorship because you gave up. You gave up to the bull, baby. You gave up to the bull.
You know, Red Bull ain't even calling. I'm hurt right now. Monster, I'm sorry. It's my fault. Please come back. I fully this is what I was saying. I fully agree. Listen, man, I think this. I think you should be able to have solace in your home language. I think you should be able to be who you are. Like I wrote about this in my dissertation. Like Brofenbrenner talks about this. Part of the reason Black kids and poor kids do so poorly in schools, with the majority of teachers being white, is that white people talk in their home normal language in schools, and Black kids have to do a double translation, meaning the way they talk at home is very different from how they talk in the building. So that's why I was asking, are we reacting to the video or reacting to the larger issue? This is why I think it's important for kids to be represented by people that look like them in the teaching force. Because here's the thing: even if those kids were being assholes, they're not going to be able to get over on David about that shit, because David know what they saying. David will be like, cut it out. Let's move on. Let's do whatever, right? Like that's the larger point that I was making. I think, but there's a lot of me that I had to like put back or not be able to have in the classroom. And at times it sucked, but at other times you just had to do it because it's like, and I get what y'all are saying. I think y'all are saying the right thing as educators. Like David said, don't expect students to respect you. As a student, as a consumer, my parents would have gotten my ass if it came to see that I was being disrespectful to an adult. I couldn't even talk back. I couldn't even publicly disagree with the adult at school at the time that I went to school. So I get what you all are saying. I think people should have the home base. They should always have it. And that's why I was asking questions like, if David can't speak good English, but Omar can, then leave him alone because there is something that's happening here. But I could see if they were trying to level set the room or have a discussion where everybody's in it or whatever. But again, I don't think that person handled it well. But the larger issue, how you can support English language learners, like let them know, like this stuff takes time. It's hard. English is a really difficult language. I think English and Chinese and some of the like Eastern European languages is some of the hardest and most harsh languages to learn. It's difficult. I can see it being really frustrating. And I have friends who are immigrants. Their parents don't let them speak their home language. Their parents don't let them speak it at home. They just won't do it. And I don't, it's not my family. It's not my culture. So I don't ask questions, but I'm just saying I've seen that happen. And I'm sure y'all have situations you can lean on too, where, you know, these things come up.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Anybody else on this question before we move to our third question and move on to final thoughts?
He was going to get these three questions. She was determined.
Yes, because I do want to talk about this cultural awareness and leadership. I think we've all had.
I'm putting it up for you right now. I got you.
Thank you. I love what you said, Omar. About how you message the importance of being bilingual. I think that's really affirming. It's inclusive. And I think that kind of approach and philosophy around it definitely will help children thrive. And I have a soft spot for this because I think school should be a place of belonging. And I think, yes, to your point, Charles, there's a lot of information we don't know. But I think what that teacher, how she approached it, I don't care if it's her seventh time, what the laurels that she's standing on is what I have an issue with. I just don't think in any sort of situation that would be appropriate outside of cheating or saying something completely inappropriate to someone else, that. Anyhow, all right. So how do implicit biases, ethnocentrism, or assimilationist thinking show up in classrooms, and what can educators and leaders do to actively counteract it. And Omar, I'm throwing it to you first because we've had conversations about this. I did get to visit El Paso Leadership Academy a few years back, and we had a conversation about this because when Omar took me on this tour, okay, it was his students that greeted me, shook my hand, and was able to say what's going on in English and in Spanish. And he's like, yeah, they just got here like 4 months ago, wasn't saying a word, you know? So I see the power of being able to embrace both at whatever level of proficiency they're in. So I'm throwing it to you first.
Yeah. I mean, I just had this conversation today with adults about communication and their management structure, which is you've got to be able to meet people where they're at. You're the adult, you're the leader. So like one of the things that bothered me about this teacher, she's like, I'm in charge here, I'm the adult. Bro, no one wants to hear that. Had you told me as a kid, I would have been quiet and been like, yes, ma'am, because my mom would have beat the shit out of me. But in my head, I would have been like, you a rat suit wearing insecure mofo. To quote my man, Rudy Ray Moore / Dolomite, who is a role model to me. And maybe why I have the language that I use today. Because
Dolomite
that's
reference.
no way. Yeah,
Love
hell
it.
yeah, I love Dolomite, man. That's no way to speak
Dolomite.
as a person, especially a kid. So it's like, how do we get through this work? When I was a teacher, there never would have been a board that said, don't say bruh
Oh, bro.
or thin.
Look it up,
or
man.
all
It's
that.
crazy.
Like, forget about, like, that's nuts. I would have actually encouraged kids to come in and then made the parlay of being like, dude, this is badass. This is how you speak at home in the streets. Let me teach you some of the language we use professionally so we can use both, so that we can add this to your like arsenal of code switching. Because when kids saw it as a positive and as something that they could grow on, and another thing that makes them stronger and more unique, they gravitate towards it. And how easy was that? I did it in less than 5 seconds, Jubilee?
Yeah.
So how, like, this is the thing, is that because most teachers in the United States are white women, because all teachers basically went to college, it's about having a conversation with teachers before the kids even show up to check themselves, which is, what are all of your biases about classroom instruction? You're going to teach the way you were taught. And I ask them dude, I do this exercise almost every single year. And I think it's germane to this conversation. I asked all the teachers to like stand up, and I count them out, and I'm like, okay, so here is the, 70 teachers that we have, 60 teachers that we have. And I just do the percentages in my head. All right, I'm going to need like 8 of you all. I need you 8 to come over here and stand right beside me. And I need the 52 of you all. I need you to go in the corner. Like, go over there, go to the corner. And they're like, what? I'm like, just follow me. It's a little bit of an exercise. And I announce, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. In El Paso, 16% of all kids will go to college and through college. Congratulations to you 8. You are the future teachers. Now, you 8, I want you to look back at the 52. What happened to them? Those are your kids. Now what? Do you want your kid to be in that group of 52? I want you to imagine if I did that with your child in a gymnasium. I asked, of the 100 kids in this school, which we do not have, it's more like 1,000, 1,000 kids in this school. I need 860 of you all to go to that corner, and I need 120 of you all right here. Now, I want you to imagine your kid is in that 860. How would you feel about that? How would you feel about, from the very beginning? That's what you're doing. When you are teaching how you were taught, you're only teaching to this 14%, the 16%, and not the 84. So how is your home language, your situation so much different? That's why I'm like, dude, you're coming with me and we're visiting homes. I want you to see where our kids live. I want you to see the homes that they live in. I want you to see the language that they're talking. I want you to see how they're growing up.
And I need you to meet them where they're at. Because if you continue to say that this is the dominant culture, the dominant situation, what are you doing other than just chastising instead of teaching and empowering? And that's not what we're in the business of. So I know that's a long monologue about it, but I think that's implicit in how I consult and how I mentor adults. I'm like, ain't no one want to hear you talk like that. No one. From Libya to Ethiopia to Cameroon to Argentina, people are people, and no one wants to be told how much they suck and how shitty they are and how terrible they are. What they want to hear is, teach me how I can gain another skill set. And I think that's the secret.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Charles, what you got?
I think it shows up in everything. It takes me back to Brown versus Board of Education and what it was supposed to be versus what it was. I think if you didn't decimate the Black teaching population completely, these questions wouldn't come up as much. I think Italian kids should see Italian teachers. I think Black kids should see Black. I think now it don't have to be everybody. There should be some diversity in that building. But if I go to school on a reservation, I'm gonna be inundated with Native American culture. If I go to school in East LA, I'm gonna pick up some shit. Like I have a cousin. All she dates is Mexican dudes. She grew up in Hayward. Grew up around Nathaniels. Like she grew up around Nathaniels, right? Like that's just it was a Black cholo girl. Hey man, well, do your chola, do your thing, right? Like I think and so when we put our kids in schools where people don't look like them, people don't reflect them, people are bringing their own home stuff into there. You can't help but have your implicit biases and ethnocentrism. But hopefully you have a good leader, a good team where you can kind of figure that out. And here's the thing. I don't like when teachers try to be what their students are. I've had some really dope Black teachers. I remember the white dude though, because he was so different. He loved rock. He introduced us to Pink Floyd. He was a psych teacher and he was in the bike culture. And why he was so popular with all the Black kids at our school is because he wasn't trying to talk slang or be like us. He was actually showing us parts of his world that we had never seen before. And I thought that was just really cool. Like this is one of the reasons I like when David talks about being a DJ, because when you look at him, like, some people are like, yeah, but it's like, oh shit, well, what show, I've asked David, hey, let me see some of your mixes. Let me have some of those because I want to know the influences that you had, like the places where we overlap and some shit that's different. Like I love Carlos Santana. You know why I love Carlos Santana? David's probably gonna be the only one who gets this because he knows Oakland. I used to live in a Fruitvale. I used to live off of East 15th. My mom and dad, the best friend I had was a little Mexican kid, a little younger than me, and my mom and dad taught them how to play spades, and we would go to each other's houses. So I had rice and beans and shit like that for breakfast for the first time and was in love with it. Dude had Black fried chicken for the first time and you couldn't tell him shit. Like, so I think I think that mixing is a really, really good thing. The point that I originally made though, you got to have a home base. Like he has to have somebody. If you're struggling to learn English, which again is really, really, really difficult, you got to have somebody you can go, that's an adult with some authority that you can go speak in Spanish to, that you can go speak Chinese to, that you can do that. And this is where I give the Chinese more props. In Oakland, even though they got schools that are traditional schools and they all Chinese, they still make their kids go to Chinese school either all day Saturday or every day after school because they know that they got to be inundated with their culture as well. They know that they're learning in two different ways. So, I think that I get everywhere we're coming from with it. I get the goodness. Like, I think it's a good place this stuff is coming from. But I do think when the rubber hits the road, some of this stuff is harder to manage and solve for when you're trying to run a full school. Like, I get it. I completely understand. That's why I'm giving everybody bail. I think the little girls are doing what little girls are supposed to do. If you can make the teacher react, then you've won. If the teacher lose their shit, we used to laugh when the teacher lost their shit. We used to laugh when we could chase a teacher that ain't from our community out of the classroom crying. Kids are fucking bad. Kids are kids. And I also have had really dope adults that usually are really good teachers lose their shit sometimes. Like, yo, I really lost it on that one. That's all I'm saying. So I think the way that you deal with that stuff is you have conversations about it. You give room for some grace. You talk things out and you just come back and be better because we're going to fuck up. Everybody's going to fuck up. So what is the culture of our school and how do we win that?
Yeah,
Just say it.
That's that. So we're going into final thoughts. So do you want to?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. But do you have
Okay.
anything you want to add for your final thought, and then we'll?
Oh, we're closing out. No, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Listen. I like these. I think these are better episodes. I hate episodes that we all agree. I think that shit is boring. So my thing is like fight it out. Like let smart people have it out. There's gonna be points made, but I think that's what makes the show so great, because I do think there are people that might have been feeling the way that I was describing, but they know that they can't say that stuff. They can't publicly feel that way because they're gonna be, they're gonna get some shit on them, man. So that's all. But I appreciate the conversation, and like I said, I still maintain you might be 1,000% right, to which I would be 1,000% on your side. Charles didn't want to say something with my full chest without a lot more information.
Gotcha. All right. Well, David, what you got for final thoughts? And you can combine it with this question or do your own thing.
Yeah, I'll combine it, and I'll be brief. I think I definitely have like strong feelings around like this assimilationist argument. I think I don't think it's either or. And there's definitely like, even some of the people that come to the US and kind of live in their own enclaves and really like retain their culture. I've got a lot of respect for that, but I'm like, I don't know if that's really sustainable over the long run. I also think the opposite is true. I think people that come here and just totally like try and grab onto whatever quote unquote American culture is and values are, I think that's a losing cause too. So I think there are certain parts where, you have to retain particular elements of your culture, includes your language. And then there are certain parts of your that should probably change, right? Like there are plenty of parts of like, Mexican culture that we could probably say we're better off without, right? That's for another show.
I wouldn't. Me and Jubilee did not say that. So continue.
I just said that. Yeah. And then
like
the other thing, I mean,
or
I mean, come on,
like
now.
I don't like the machismo shit.
Yeah. I think the other piece I have to share, going back to the start of the show, and thank you for putting this together, Jubilee, is I think one of the other triggers that I had was this teacher was approaching the situation from a deficit kind of approach, right? As opposed to like an asset mindset, right? And that I agree. Sometimes that stuff can be a little like too whatever for me. But in this case, it's like it's a big deal. It's somebody's language, right? It's part of their culture. And to view that as some kind of deficit that young people are bringing into your classroom, forget the technical parts of it, what came before, what came after, but that's a pretty serious like issue, right? Educators, school leaders, system leaders, especially in any school district in this country, which is growingly diverse by the minute, that refuse to look at culture, the culture of their students, the culture of their families, the culture of their communities as assets, right? To enable and activate real learning and real sharing and real growth. They've lost the plot. They've really lost the plot. Unless you have a narrow mindset where you're just like, you have a vision of what you think, people should be, how they should talk, how they should walk, what their hair should look like, let's get down to like, what's in your lunch bag, right? What are you bringing home from lunch, from home? So it's really about control at that point. And I feel like this teacher missed the mark, and, it's one teacher, you're right. But it's just much more about control than anything else. So I hope she's learned her lesson.
I think my only comment on that is I've dealt with this before, and David's dealt with it, and we've dealt with all these teachers. I dealt with a very racist teacher in 5th grade. And sometimes these teachers think, don't they know that we're doing it for their own good? You're going to live in the United States. You need to be this and you need to be that. And I mean, hey, my question for those like monkey ass motherfuckers, like mostly white women, like, how the fuck has this worked out for you?
Yeah.
I don't think this has really worked out for you. No one likes your ass. You think that you're helping someone when in reality, what you're doing is handicapping someone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my only comment is we did a whole show on code switching. And I think that is the secret. If we explain to children and to students, here are different languages, different ways of gaining access, different ways of like treating, like, do you handle yourself at your abuelita's house different than you do your own house? Do you treat yourself in the streets as differently than you do at your house or your abuelita's house? And they're like, no, different rules. And I'm like, exactly. So why don't we learn all the different rules and the different ways? Because then you gain greater access, you gain greater power, you gain greater abilities, more friends. Here's the, and it's what David is saying, here's the asset-minded way of having this discussion so that students understand I get to celebrate what I have and it continues to give me access to these places. And now I've got a key for something else and a key for something else, much like Doc was talking about with Pink Floyd and everything else. Dude, those are keys. Those are great keys. And I listened and learned those keys. And I got to tell you, like, you know, for the lack of Latino movies that existed in the 1980s and 1990s, and why I went deep into like African-American culture and cinema, like those have been keys. And I don't use them as keys. I have a deep adoration for like Black culture. I frankly, I have no idea where that came from, to be perfectly honest with you. I fucking love it. But you can't tell me that's not a great code switching key that allows me to understand and have access to different understandings and cultural components, much like speaking in this way with a very fluid dichotomy and lots of very large scale words that ain't F-bombs, another key to another place at another access. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Jubilee, you're our host. Take us away.
Yeah, I had a couple of thoughts. I think again, this is a
tell us what's on your mind.
I mean, I was a study abroad student, and I studied abroad in Brazil. No one spoke.
That's a great
English.
example.
They weren't even playing. That they really didn't speak English, and the school that I attended had 150 countries represented there.
Yeah,
and so my class had a bunch of kids. The teacher didn't know what any of us were saying. None of us. Right? Nor did she care. All she wanted to make sure that was that when it came time for us to conjugate this verb, that we were able to do it appropriately in the right form, right? And when it was time for us to do conversational French, right, that we were showing up, because there was no way for her to be able to track up to 30 different languages in one class for all of us that were there. And she kept the main thing, and that was our learning. That was our progression in the class, you know? And so I think that's why this is a soft point for me, because I think the teacher missed it. And if it was a redirect on student behavior because it was disruptive, right? Or because, you know, they didn't follow her directive, right? It was supposed to be quiet and they were talking during independent work time. Whatever it is, it wouldn't have mattered if it was in English, Spanish, or Russian. It wouldn't have mattered because she gave a directive and they were supposed to follow through, right? But she made it about the Spanish.
That's a cool
pissed
example,
me
man.
off, because it wasn't about the Spanish. It was about the fact that perhaps you gave a directive, right, for whatever reason, and they didn't follow through. And then also you made assumptions, teacher. You didn't lead through inquiry. You didn't ask any questions. You made an assumption that they were talking about you or whatever the case may be. And I think the teacher missed an opportunity to really build a relationship there and teach about time, place, and appropriateness. And then, you know, that's my last point, is kind of a connection to what I just said in terms of just picking your battle as a teacher. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you come in the classroom and you speak in that way, look, just show up when it's time to show up. When we about to do this debate about Roe v. Wade or whatever, I don't want to hear, bruh, this and that. That's fine. You can have a standard in your class, right? But the standard should not become this thing that excludes, right? Or that is not welcoming, or that's targeting a specific group in your class, you know? So that's my final thought. I'm Jubilee. That's David Castillo. That's Dr. Charles Cole III. And that's Omar Yanar. And we are the South Star Classroom. Tune in next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I almost messed that up.
Got it.
We love y'all.
Peace out.